Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking out this video. Today is going to be a feature on the second Facto Godzilla Evolution kit that I just put together. As anybody who's probably watched my videos knows, the first one that I put together was the kit that ultimately pushed me into doing what I'm doing with the repaints, the customs, the commissions. I think I painted probably for almost the better part of a year before I finally felt brave enough to bust that box open and kind of go to work on that guy. So now, months later, I've actually sold that piece because I acquired a second one, and there's no need for two of them. I mean, there's only so much badassery that, you know, one little display case could take, right? So doing this a second time made me actually really appreciate little tricks I have learned along the way, and areas that I've improved upon as far as building these things, kind of knowing the work that goes into it. But I wanted to have a darker paint job this time. The first one I put together, I wanted a lighter paint job because I wanted it to stand apart from the rest of the Godzillas that were at the time in my collection. Also, when I saw the prototype images from Facto, I thought the lighter pictures, the pictures where the model looked lighter, I thought really looked more favorable. But I can say now, after doing this in a darker paint job, I do prefer the darker look. It does look more villainous and terrifying. And that's ultimately what this piece is about. I mean, that's how it speaks to me. The sculptor himself basically said this is Godzilla at his most evil. And when I also look at this design, it's Godzilla at his most evil, but also his most powerful. I mean, to me, if you look at like Godzilla 1954, who's just a straight villain, just unstoppable, you know, nature's wrath upon mankind, as you know, that was like the Charmander, right? And this piece right here would be like the Charizard, and he's what I would think Godzilla would look like if he just finally just reached his ultimate form and stopped evolving. The producer of the Godzilla series once said that Godzilla is the sacred beast of the apocalypse. So you have to look the part, right? And this to me is something that really looks the part. Mind you, in 1954, the Godzilla design was terrifying. I mean, you got to change with the times. The ante's been pushed along the way. It's like the Dragon Ball Z thing. It's like, Goku, yeah, you were a badass, you know, in the earlier seasons, but if you need 20 seasons to carry on with that Dragon Ball Z show, you got to get stronger and stronger and stronger. That's really what he's all about. And Godzilla's much the same way, quietly, because it's like live action, so they do, I guess it is a little, they do try to kind of meander between that fantasy element and that realistic element. But yeah, Godzilla's gotten stronger through the years as well. I mean, every new generation, he's got these crazy new abilities. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's meaner, and I think that really gets brought forward into this kit, into this particular sculpt. And speaking of this sculpt, I mean, the words, there's just not enough words that I could even conjure up right now that really just describe how intimidating and ruthless this guy looks. He's, first of all, his pose, right? Let's talk about the pose. He's in a very dynamic, I'm not going to say dynamic, but he's definitely in a very confrontational stance, like kind of like wide-legged, ready to attack. I mean, he's adorned with all these spikes coming out of his thighs and elbows and arms. Just, you can see the spikes on his back. I mean, this guy has evolved. This guy is not just, you know, a new mutation. This guy has become something that really can't be stopped. It looks like something that Mother Nature, just a bastardized version of what once was probably a beautiful and majestic creature, has now turned into a hateful, godly being. There's not a single part of this guy's physique or body. There's not a scale on his frame that isn't made in a aggressive manner. His claws are savage looking from on his feet and his hands. The way the muscular build of his chest and his legs, the tail, the way it's long and it curls and like it ends in a very thin whip. Like I'm sure that would smack the shit out of somebody. The spines, I could attest that they are sharp, and if this guy was a real life living creature, they would hurt like hell. They could definitely be weaponized. And you got the cobra like shape to the girth of his neck. It looks like it's just defensively really hard to attack his head or a vertebrae. And then really at the end of it, his ears, like I'm a sucker for Godzilla with pointy ears, and I think it looks like very hellish, like a demon. And this guy, well, like, you know, Godzilla is kind of like a lot of times associated, certain Godzilla suits are associated with certain animals. So the Heisei Godzilla of the 80s and 90s, everybody pretty much says he looked like he had like a feline cat aspects to his face. And Godzilla in Final Wars, they say he looks like a rat, for better or for worse. Not sure if that's a compliment. I don't think it usually is. But and then in the legendary Godzilla was made to look like a bear in his physique, in his physical build, but there's an eagle-like nobleness to his face. That's purposeful. Well, this guy with these ears, he looks like a wolf. Definitely very relatively long ears, very pointy, very aggressive looking. To me, it screams wolf. I mean, he's got like just so many little pointy teeth with fangs. I mean, it almost looks like they did like a mutated, fucked up shark mouth. It's just, he's got so much going on. You could tell it's just not natural looking. It's horrific. This is like the boogeyman of Godzilla's, and I'm here for it. I love every single bit of this guy. His face, so he's definitely got some Heisei Godzilla qualities to him, but there's some GMK in there as well. And the way he's sculpted with such like a growl. I'm not sure if that's the word I'm looking for, like a grimace. But you could tell the artistic representation, like in the sculpt, of just how angry this guy's facial expression is. His lips are curled, the snout is all, whatever that's contracted. When you just you're about to just sink your teeth into something for the final time. I fucking love it. This guy's a pretty decent size. He's 38 centimeters from head to foot, from his head to the top of his head to the ground. His tail comes up actually a little higher. I think he's 43 centimeters at his highest point, and he's heavy, thick resin, good quality sculpt, like normal teeth, Facto, compliments there. So I kind of got into the paint before, and I like I said, I wanted to go darker, but my thing is I wanted a nicer variation to the skin tones this time. Like I think last time I pretty much did with the first kit I did of this guy, I did a base of a Payne's gray, and then I went lighter gray above that, and then I kind of did like a dry brush and added a little bit of a little bit of aqua color in there just to throw it in. But it really wasn't a whole bunch of colors. With this guy, it's definitely a lot more colors, but everything is darker toned. So there are browns in there, there are blues in there, and there's a little bit of, there's definitely gray in there, but ivory black is pretty much most of his color. It's his dominant color that I use. So with the Heisei Godzilla, a lot of times, especially in figure form, he's really kind of like one note, all really dark gray or almost black looking, but it's pretty much how his entire suit looked. It was just all really dark. With this guy, I wanted to I always preferred the Showa series, like the 60s Showa Godzilla films, because you could kind of see a little more complexity to the paint scheme in Godzilla suits, a little more earthly tones if you kind of really get in there and look. So I wanted to add that. You can see it. I'm gonna have pictures of this Godzilla kit taken outside and outdoors with sunlight hitting them. I also did it indoors near windows where you'll have direct light on him, but you'll see a different kind of variation with the colors. And then ultimately I wanted to have the pictures of when he's in the display cabinet, because that's where he's going to be 99.9% of the time, and it is darker there. But I wanted this Godzilla to not only look good in outdoor or artificial lighting, but I wanted him to really look like he had a strong paint job inside normal lighting conditions, because that's where I will see him most. And I think I finally accomplished that. I mean, I think, as you'll see in the pictures, I had to include him even though the lighting isn't great. But you can kind of see like just how imposing he looks, and it's some of those pictures are perhaps my favorite pictures. I love the way this guy looks in the display cabinet, and honestly, despite having built this kit a second time, I still cannot get the quintessential picture of this guy. I just can't. I take a lot of the same pictures over and over again, and they look good, but there's just not a picture of him that I've been able to take that I like as much as the studio pictures that initially sold me on buying this kit in the first place. It's just me as a photographer. These pictures do not do him justice. Seeing him in person is a whole lot freaking more impressive. But yeah, so Godzilla 1964 was, as far as a paint color goes, was pretty much my biggest inspiration here. And then I did, which is, it's pretty obvious to see, I included the infamous brow for this Godzilla, right? I made it brown over his eyes, so it makes it a little more noticeable. I mean, it's exaggerated, but that is something that 1964 suit is famous for, and I wanted to kind of that's my little homage to one of the best Godzilla suits that's ever been created. Another thing that I've kind of wrestled with back and forth for a little bit was what color were the eyes going to be, and as tempting as it was to make white eyes again, because I'm a sucker for it, I wanted something to really speak on the nuclear mutated aspect of this Godzilla. And so initially I had kind of like your stereotypical nuclear green, like poisonous color shade that I put in Godzilla's eyes, and I really did love it. I think it actually came out great, but the OCD in me wouldn't let me just, of course, be happy and leave shit alone. It's a common fault of mine. It drives me nuts, and sometimes it bites me in the ass. But so the eyes, they looked great when I took them out for little photo shoots and stuff like that, but in the cabinet the eyes were still too dark, and they weren't really noticeable. Like, I didn't really like not seeing his eyes stand out more, so I went back and I made the eyes brighter, and my inspiration here was, again, going back to the sculptor saying this is Godzilla at his most evil. I'm a big reader of Spawn comics. I pretty much always have been, and I've always loved the eyes on that character. Very hellish, very supernatural, which is something that I think actually this works for this Godzilla. It's one of the few circumstances where I think I could really kind of do this with the eyes. So I made Godzilla's eyes brighter green, a little more, I don't want to say magic based, but at least because in the Spawn context it probably is, but definitely for Godzilla I wanted this to look like he's just like brimming with this internal power. So I made the eyes brighter. There's a little mix of like brighter greens and like a lime green with yellow. I dig it, and ultimately I think it's a better look when he's in the display cabinet. the eyes are now bright enough to make out, and I think he looks even more badass. So as far as this kit and everything I have to say about my piece, that's pretty much it. As far in regards to, I know people do ask every time I post pictures of him or videos, what is this figure? What is this guy? How can I get one? So I actually thought he was sold out already from the website, from the Japanese website. He is not. There's gotta still. I'm surprised, but I know he'll be sold out soon. There's no doubt about it. So this is still a chance to get him at his retail cost, which is about $400 in a box that's unassembled, unpainted, everything like that. He comes in all a bunch of pieces. You got to either do it yourself or find somebody to do it for you. And you can't order directly from the site if you live in America or outside Japan, really. You have to use a proxy service. There's a couple of sites that now make it easier for people like in America to shop through Japan. White Rabbit is one of them, so I did look at the cost to kind of have it shipped to me just in case I got another one. And it was about $460 to my door, which is a fair cost because eBay prices are already well over $1,000 for unbuilt, and it's only going to get worse. That's how these things go. The moment it's sold out, forget about it. eBay, there's no looking back. Anybody who's selling this piece, built or unbuilt, they're not going to do bro pricing. And again, to be specific, because it can be confusing, this is the Godzilla Evolution II. There was a first one, and Facto does do stylistic takes on Godzilla. Sometimes that's why I love them. It's not all just suit accurate stuff. They do kind of really ghoulish and just straight up wonderfully creative takes on the Godzilla character. He also did the Final Wars concept design, which is a piece that actually just recently sold out, and I'm slapping myself for not getting that guy while I had a chance. And now he's sold out, and I probably won't be able to ever find him for less than like $2,000 now, and that's probably in all likelihood. So, okay. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for this guy. I am working on some things that have been taking me a while. I'm so backed up with projects, and everything's complicated. Nothing's being simple right now. It's just the way of the world. I hope you guys appreciated this and enjoyed this. I've appreciated you for watching it. If you stuck it through for this long, wow, that's a long time. I had a lot to say. And so until next time, folks, have a good weekend. Be safe. Peace.